people with you, or people all joining via Zoom?
We have people joining all via Zoom.
Okay, great. And do you want to give any more time for people to be able to show up?
I think we're good. I think we got just about enough people. We got about 6, 7 participants. We made
Okay.
phone calls throughout the day today, and a lot of people said they were interested and wanted to attend, but just time constraints and family obligations and homework. So, but they want the recording, so that's the good part.
Well, okay, and that's what we're going to do. Then we're going to go through our steps, provide the recording, and that's what you can do. Is you just make these opportunities available, and then people know that the resources out there, and when they want to use them, they know how to get them. So, and let me ask you this, Garrett, do you have any students that are attending school right now that are dealing with accessibility and all of this fun online virtual learning?
I would say for me personally, as a parent, my kid is a little bit younger, and
Okay.
so she's in kindergarten, so she's not dealing with it as much. But I know a lot of parents who are dealing with these inaccessibility issues, so especially in Maryland.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to tell you, it's never too young to start. um, And we have, and as I go through the room, I notice that we also have some members of our Tech Vision team here. So of course, she's one of our students at Tech Vision. We have Dr. Denise Robinson, who's the CEO of Tech Vision and another co-instructor. And then we have Jordana, who's not only one of our instructors, she's blind, she's a TVI, she's also does Spanish. So she's doing Spanish with technology, making sure that students are able to install the Spanish voices for JAWS, and then do the things needed to enter in the proper punctuations and tildes and all of those things for the Spanish symbols. So I have some of my team here, so I want anyone who does join to be able to feel free to ask questions, because not only are we presenting, but if people have the specific questions, we want to have that opportunity to do the Q&A in real time so people can write down things that are specific to their needs. So with that being said, Emery, go ahead and just tell us a quick bit about yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Emery, but I go by Emmy, and I'm in 9th grade at Kalaheo High School in Kailua, Hawaii. But I don't live in Kailua, I live in Kaneohe, which is like next to it. I don't know. It's weird that I ended up going to that school.
Tell them where you used to live.
I used to live in Knoxville, Virginia, which is just north of Manassas, like where the Manassas battlefield was, which is, a little ways, not too far though from DC. So, yeah. And I started learning technology at Tech Vision in around March, like right when COVID hit. We were like so tired of not knowing how to do anything. So, yeah, now I know how to do some stuff. Yay.
She does know how to do some stuff now. I may repeat some things, and I'm going to be emphasizing some themes, some philosophy as we move forward, because I know some parents will join late, and then I'm also got a little bit of the preacher in me, so I really want to, send this message home. So I will start off by saying this. When it comes to your blind child learning technology, it's not an option. So you don't look at it like it's a piano lessons or learning a second language. If you have a blind, low vision child, student, technology is their key to unlock this world, because we live in a sighted world, and there's not always going to be accommodations. There's not always going to be a TVI there to make your job accessible and make the accommodations. So the goal is for the student to be skilled enough with technology to go out into the world and be competitive in the workforce. And that's probably a lot for some people to swallow as they adjust to all the things with working from home, with even thinking about assignments and keeping up, and then also on top of that, how to get their kids geared up. We don't have to solve that whole problem today, but I want to plant that seed that learning technology fluently, it's not optional. If you want your child to go out here and have a productive life where they can contribute and have meaning, this has to be a priority on some level. So with that said, Emmy is going to go ahead and sign into her Google Classroom. So go ahead and pull up a browser, Emery.
Back up. I gotta share my screen first.
Oh, please do.
And we were gonna talk about, before we get into things, about the speed of my JAWS, that mine is, I mean, it's not that fast, but it's kind of fast, and it's kind of necessary to start out slow, I guess. I don't know. Nate, you can go and explain that.
Yeah, we're going to allow her to start off a little bit fast at her normal rate, just so people can get an idea of what's possible. And, you know, when you're fluent in listening to JAWS or a screen reader, you're listening to maybe 300-400 words a minute, and some kids even go up from there. And they're able to start processing that. The synapses in their brain, all of those things start connecting. And you know, of course we want strong Braille readers, but we want these students to be able to digest this information as quickly as possible. So again, they're on par with the sighted world. So let's just go ahead.
I was going to say, it's really just about efficiency. Like, the more information you can take in and actually understand in like a reasonable amount of time, the better, because then you can move faster. So this is just how fast it is. I'm pressing my start key because I'm going to open Chrome. Now I'm going to slow it down.
Slower.
Okay, so I'm going to open Chrome, and then once I get into Chrome, I'm actually going to open an incognito window because I really don't like having my school account in with my other Google account. I don't know, it just gets confusing. So incognito is Control-Shift-N for Chrome.
Shift-N, new tab, Google Chrome Incognito, address and search bar edit.
And then classroom.google.com.
O-O-M, classroom, O-O-G-E, Google, C-O-M, com, enter.
So I know what's happening a lot of times is parents are sitting down with their students to get them signed into their Google Class, but as she's shown, it's so far, she's going to get in her classroom in about 3 steps. She went to Chrome, she typed in classroom.google.com, and so this is where she's going to be right now, and she's just going to go to her classes. So it's really 3 or 4 steps.
This page we're on right now is like the home page of Classroom when you're not signed in. So it's not yet the sign-in page, so I actually have like a place marker to where the go to Classroom link is, but I'm not going to use that because not everybody has that set up. So I'm going to open my links with JAWS key and F7. And for some reason it's not working. Okay, now
Navigation region.
once again.
Links list dialog. Links list view. Skip the
So I had just pressed tabbed in. I hadn't tabbed in yet, so it was confused on what I wanted to do. So I'm going to press G.
G Suite for education. H home 40. D get G Suite for free. G go to classroom 42.
So it's just this go to Classroom link here. And finally, we have found the magical sign-in page. So I'm going to press E for edit and open forms mode on. And then here comes my email. It's a monster.
I just want to make sure. Are we okay? There we go. I wasn't hearing sound for a second, but I got it now. Never mind. Everybody's hearing sound, correct? They're hearing her JAWS.
Go ahead and give me an insert T, Emery. I was hearing it.
Yeah, that's what I heard her typing, so I didn't know if she has echo typing off or.
No, and so if you just pressed insert T, Emery, I did not hear your JAWS say the title of the window.
Did. Do you want me to stop sharing and share again?
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that? And so I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I did send out a document just now. It's a Google Doc, and it's a resource in general that I put together, but it's also something that could help you to follow along with this and maybe ask some questions. So she's going to be using a couple different features to get around. One is called a links list. And what happens with the links list, it means she can do a keystroke that only puts the links to this page in view. So she doesn't have to arrow down through all of the text and all of the buttons. She can go directly to the link for her classes or assignments. So that's a links list. And she'll also be using the letter H to jump through things that are significant sections and subsections. That H will take her through those, what we call headings. And each class typically has its own heading, so rather than your student tabbing or arrowing down over and over, they can just press the letter H and find the section for their class. So those are a couple things you're going to hear her talk about and do. I just want to put them in context.
Can you guys hear it?
I cannot.
Well, it just said my internet connection's unstable. Maybe that's why. Oh, is it this problem where when I share my sound, it won't hear it, but when I don't, it does?
You know what? Let's try not to share your sounds, and we'll see if we can just hear it through your speaker and microphone.
Hold on.
Your screen share has been stopped.
So start the screen share, but without the sharing the sounds.
Okay. Up, share, enter. You will start a screen share. Zoom meeting. Mute. Currently unmuted. OK button to activate. Press spacebar. Meeting control.
Now we can hear it.
It's better now. Yeah, it's better now. Yep.
My computer is really strange, guys. I'm sorry. It goes off on its own little trail through the woods and does whatever it wants.
But you know what? This is the world of tech, and we just keep moving on.
Okay, so it's time for my password, which you guys don't get to know.
Show password. Enter your password. Password.
Haha, nanana boo boo.
Star.
It's star.
Star. Star.
Yeah, very informational, but basically, yeah.
Google accounts. Google Chrome. Classes. Google Chrome.
And so what it just popped up is I'm gonna go to the insert T.
Title is Classes. Google Chrome Incognito.
So this is literally, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a list of classes, and also up here is underneath each class, there's like a little summary of what's due soon. And this is like actually my school. Like this isn't a dummy page. Like this is actually my classes and my homework that unfortunately I have to do today. Anyway, so we can navigate from class to class on this homepage. H is pretty much going to be your favorite key in Classroom because it jumps between headings, and headings are set up really nicely in Classroom. So just as an example, I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to press H. And that's not working.
Classes Google Chrome
I wonder
Incognito.
why. Hold on a second.
Use virtual PC cursor off. Use virtual PC cursor off.
So I just pressed insert. Z to make sure my virtual cursor was on, and I'll try this again.
Classes.
So H.
Google Classroom heading level 1.
So that's like the main classroom heading.
Link MS. Gartner's office hours class options heading level 2 button menu collapse menu.
And then that's actually a classroom for office hours, so that's not actually school, but.
TE Lifetime Fitness P2 link for 2MS. Hunt K201 side 202.
So that is PE, and it just jumped right to the PE link. And then next on the list is.
Link honors ideology period 3 class options heading level.
So that's my bio class.
Due tomorrow heading level.
And I have an assignment due tomorrow, and it just said due tomorrow right there. So if I wanted to see what was under this due tomorrow, I'm just going to down arrow.
Link assignment levels of organization due tomorrow.
Ouch.
Link assignment carbohydrates traffic organizer due tomorrow.
I should really start working on that. Anyway, then I could.
Link open your work.
So there's nothing left there, and then next class.
Link TD1 Spanish 1 LZ class.
I had just pressed H, and then see there's Spanish.
US history 2 link 2 honors class options heading level.
There's history.
Due tomorrow heading level 2.
Ooh, look, more stuff due tomorrow.
Link assignment.
My lucky day.
Heading link assignment MWBA episode 5 due tomorrow.
And then we could keep Hing.
Due Friday heading level 2.
Ooh, look, that's history due Friday.
Link assignment Esperanza Rising 4 link assignment store edit 3 do link open your work for unit. Link student activity period SAP 8:15 9 o'clock.
And then that's student activity period, which is like career planning.
Cut of meat geometry honors LZ link 5 class op.
I don't know what the cut of meat is for, but that's geometry.
English 9 honors LZ link 2.
And that's English.
Due Tuesday heading level.
And that's
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So we have she's She's not having to arrow down. She's just using these H keys for headings, and she's getting all this information, what class it is, and when the assignment is due. So
Well,
let's
Let's
go
to
ahead.
biology. Let's go to biology.
Let's go to biology and see kind of how what you would need to do to turn in an assignment or read the directions for an assignment.
Yep. So I'm at the top, so I'm just gonna heading really fast until I get to bio.
Google click MBE link honors due tomorrow heading level click honors biology period 3 class.
So that's honors biology, and once I get to the heading, I'm just gonna enter.
Enter classes link open folder for honors biology.
And then magical opens up.
Honors biology period 3.
So then
Honors biology period 3 heading level 1 link.
what you'll notice is that's the first honors biology heading, and under this, I'm going to down arrow.
Link stream selected. Link classwork. Link people.
You can easily access those links. And then the next one,
Honors biology period 3 heading level 1.
and then below this is,
Meet link. Link HTTPS meet.
that's where we meet twice a week. So that's the meet link. And I don't know if every teacher is going to have that set up, but sometimes that's where, when they say the link's in the banner, that's often where it is.
Okay, so just slow down 1 second, Emery. I want you to kind of demonstrate how the links list could work. So just go to the top of the page, and I'll explain what a scenario could look like.
All right. So at the top.
So your student comes to this page for their biology classroom, and they know that there's a Google Meet here, but they don't know all of these keystrokes, so they're just tabbing, heading, arrowing around. They're getting flustered, and you're sitting there as a parent saying, well, it's right there. It's to the left. It's to the upper right corner. No, just move right. If they just pull up the links list, and I did resend that document out, so I hope that you guys got it. Do the insert F7 for your links list.
Escape.
Oopsie. Okay.
Links list dialog. Links list view. Honors biology period 3. 1 of 17.
Okay, and so it says 1 of 17. That means there's 17 links on this page. She could arrow down just through the links, but since she knows that link starts with the word meet, she can just hit the letter M. Go ahead and do that.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but
Okay, you go. What is it, G?
HTTPS.
Okay, we'll hit H.
HMH HTTPS meet Google.com lookup.
There we go.
Yeah.
But so that would be a quick way to locate a lot of different things on a page. And as she goes to her different classes, if she notices, well, my links start or my meetings start with the HTTP, she has that in her repertoire now, just a quick tool to grab out of the box, and there's no tabbing around. There's no getting frustrated. Because here's the thing, we want to really save the bandwidth for our students. Once she gets that down in her muscle memory, which she has now using the link list, she doesn't have to worry about that. She can save her mental bandwidth for actually getting into the class and following the teacher. And so once she hit that HTTP, she could press enter on it, and it would start. She would be jumped into her Google Meet. All right, go ahead and get out of here and keep on moving.
Okay, so
Escape.
I
Honors.
have stuff to do, and I wonder what that stuff is. So I'm just going to heading until it says, I think it's soon or something, coming up.
Honors biology upcoming heading level 2.
Yep, upcoming. So in this little heading here,
Heading level 2 due tomorrow.
it just has a nice handy list. This is kind of what it had on the homepage. Nice handy list of everything I could possibly need to not fail in the next week. So yeah, basically.
Link assignments. Levels of organization. Do link assignments. Carbohydrates.
So if I were to open one of these assignments, then it would pop me into a new page with all the information I need to do that assignment. So what the page we're on right now is called the stream page, and it's kind of like a bulletin board. And every teacher does it different, but they can choose to post stuff in the stream. Sometimes they don't. So it's really not the most reliable resource on getting all your information. Probably the best one is classwork. But so Nate, where do you want us to go first?
Probably the classwork.
All right, so I can get to classwork in a few ways. I can do links list, or I can go to the site. I can do links list.
Links list dialog. Honors biology period 3. 1 of 17. C. Classwork. 3 of 17.
And go to it that way.
Escape.
Or I could go to the top and heading once and then down arrow twice.
Link classwork.
So that's how you get to it where it literally is on the page, but you can also do it with links list.
Enter. Application feature. Classwork link. Open feedback button menu.
And and I want to say this to everyone, Emory didn't get here overnight. So, you may be thinking, well, can my child do this? We start off with the basics. And so it's all bite side. But the important thing is to know that this is possible. It's doable with the right training, and to know that it is a necessity, and to continue to work together, parents of blind children, to lay out the blueprints for these IEPs to make sure this kind of training is being put into your IEPs, really keeping track of when things are not accessible, when you have to sit there with your student and you have to press the key on the mouse pad and you have to do something. You write all that down, and you keep a record of it for these IEPs, because this is the type of training that unlocks that that door of independence and starts to take away the anxiety of being overwhelmed. So go ahead and go through here, Emory, and while she does this and explains what she's doing to look at her assignments, I want any parents out there to think about questions that you may have, stuff you see your students struggling with, or that you're hearing other parents say, well, how do you do this? How do we do that?
Questions are really important because, I could tell you a million things, but if there's still that burning question in your mind, then you better put it out there.
Exactly.
So, I'm just going to go to the top, and I'm not super familiar with the classwork page because usually my teachers just kind of leave the assignments to go onto the stream. I'm going to go to the top
Classwork for
and heading twice.
honors. I'm at the top. Honors.
Okay, that didn't go well. So,
Class. Honors biology period 3.
and now I am just going to down arrow, and because I'm pretty sure I know how this is set up, but we can always check.
Links 3.
Mhm.
Google X. Google Navigations region N. Big region. Link do your work. Link needs. Link Google Calendar.
So these are some great resources right here. Just kind of things that are always there at the top of the classwork.
Link class drive folder list of 8 items. Expand levels of organization button collapsed.
So these are actually my assignments.
Assignment. Levels of organization. Due tomorrow. 10 assignment options button. And expand carbohydrates graphic organizer button collapsed.
So if I wanted to expand the assignment to actually go do it, then I'd press spacebar on this little,
Expand carbohydrates graphic organizer button collapsed.
and it would probably have a link that says view assignment, and then I'd go in there and open whatever document is attached. So,
Assignment.
And see, I noticed something from, her moving around. The list of her assignments didn't have a heading. And so as we teach the students to listen for landmarks and use their shortcut keys, go ahead and go back to the top of your page, Emmy, and we'll look at how to get down there quicker than just down arrowing. I heard
the I.
I or L for list of 8 items, because there were 8 assignments. So go ahead and hit L for list.
Yeah, list of 8 items, and then it's going to be I for items.
Yep.
Expand levels of organization button collapsed. Expand carbohydrates graphic organizer button collapsed. Expand experimental design questions LZ button collapsed. Expand design and experiment summative LZ button.
So
Right. All this stuff has already been done.
sure. No, you're
Just the
I know
top
you're
things
working hard. So again, once your student gets the technology down, they can focus on this work. Because even for me, sometimes I sit here and I work with Emory and I think, that's a lot of work to do. And then you throw in the added stress of technology, and you end up feeling bad as a parent and say, well, I do want to help. I do want to minimize this stress. But this is where we get into, are we really enabling them? And trying to process what that looks like, because what I have found and what I often see is, unfortunately, we can teach a level of disability. We can teach a dependence, and to where our students or children get it in their subconscious is, if I can't do this and no one's here to help me, or I don't get excused, it's not my fault. And so we take away personal responsibility, the sense of that culpability, trying to problem solve. It's figuring out, if you're listening to this, you're trying to figure it out, how best to support them. So just we have to walk that fine line of how much we actually help in real time by pressing buttons, or how much we're going to help by coming to things like this and becoming educated and fighting the IEP battle and networking with one another, being on the Facebook groups or the mailing lists, and really move the needle forward that way.
So Nate, what's next on our little things to do?
Well, let's see if anyone wants to unmute and ask a question or even add something that may be helpful to what we have discussed. So if you do unmute, just say this is so-and-so and tell us your thoughts or ask us a question.
And parents, you do have the ability to unmute yourself. I didn't take away that feature. I think Sarah said she has a question.
Hi, this is Heather. I have a second grader, and we're kind of just starting this process. And we're currently in a Chromebook and trying to get it set on a laptop, but facing just organizational issues with them getting him just like to be able to log into the laptop, just an account to log in. So, and at this point, I've tried the Chromebook, which has seemed to work horribly, and I get responses of just picture when he tries to, he's really eager and wants to do this. Our current setup has him just trying to learn touch typing first before they're introducing JAWS. So I'm wondering if any of this is achievable without using JAWS yet.
The short answer is yes. It is. It's doable, but it's not going to be as efficient, and it's kind of it's a one-trick pony, unfortunately. And I understand that it's popular in the schools, but again, if we're being practical, we're not going out into the world and seeing people at their jobs using Chromebooks. It may be there.
We should be a laptop soon and away from the Chromebook totally. So,
okay.
But then we're not installing JAWS yet. Like they're wanting him to get used to touch typing on the laptop, and I guess getting used to that. So I guess he'll be able to use JAWS effectively once they start training him. Then they'll start training him on JAWS once he has the kind of physical ability to knows where the keys are and things like that on a keyboard.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I would. Denise, are you here to maybe?
Yeah, I'm here. I know I'm kind of smirking, Nate. I am.
I know. So go ahead and Denise is, we work with school districts throughout the country, and we hear the plethora of reasons why the schools do not, or are saying that they can't teach JAWS or the students not ready. And the reality is that the TVIs and the schools are not ready. And then we get into kind of this legal mumbo jumbo of them not wanting to say, honestly, we just can't teach your student. And that's usually what it boils down to, is that they can't do it. And right now, just so you know, the parent, any person who's a member of the Parents of Blind Children, they can get, I believe it's a free 1-year license for JAWS or Zoom Text.
And Nate, do you mind if I interject for just a quick second?
Go for it.
And Heather, I just also want to let you know, for the Maryland parents, we're currently gathering and working on gathering a list of members within our own affiliate, that if you need help with something, whether that's coming up with a reasonable accommodation or an idea to modify an assignment for your blind child, or maybe you need a few tricks or tips on JAWS, our members are standing by to speak with you over the phone, maybe sit down with your kid for an hour and help them out as much as we can, because we recognize that this transition from in-person to virtual, a lot of blind kids are unprepared for this, because a lot of them haven't began to learn this technology. And that's a problem. And until they teach your child, they should be coming up with accommodations for your child to do their assignments. That is their obligation. And if you need an IEP advocate, don't hesitate to contact us because we can help you out with that. And also, you know, if, like I said earlier, if you need someone to give you a few tips and tricks and sit down with your kid for an hour, by all means, contact us. We know of a number of private teachers, including Nate, who, you know, I think Nate, you do correct me if I'm wrong, who will actually, you know, they do charge, and, you know, unfortunately, but will help teach your kid JAWS if the school district
Yeah.
won't.
Well, and here's the other thing that and thank you for stating all that, Garrett, because that's you're hitting the nail on the head with what needs to happen, and you guys are providing that support. But something else that we do, you know, at Tech Vision, we're coming alongside of parents and walking them through this process with their school districts to find out how we get the justification for the school district to, if they say we don't have somebody, well, then they're going to have to pay for that tech training, that private tech training. But that's a process because, of course, they don't want to pay for it, and that's understandable.
And that is the school district's legal obligation. I believe the law says a free and appropriate education. That's what your child is entitled to. They can't take that away.
Yeah, let me
Yes.
jump here quickly about, so parents understand, and Nate already kind of hit it on the head, is if you look at brain research, the child is always ready to learn with instruction. All you have to do is start teaching them, and they will learn. And it really is about the approach to the school district. If you can get the TVI on board, and I'm telling you, it's the TVI that is the key, we can get on board within a couple of months. And it is very, very powerful. So it's getting that TVI on board. The TVIs are so busy with all the other stuff. And they know that they were never trained in this and taught this. And when someone comes along and says, hey, we really want to team with you and let's come together and really make a powerful team, it is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. So it's getting that buy-in from the TVI. So talk to your TVI at the school and say, hey, we know some people who can help with this. And like Garrett already said, you know, they have great people there to help get your child going. But as Nate also said, be very, very careful. We don't want to teach our kids they can't do it. And when we add too many accommodations in there and someone always has to step in and do the work, it kind of gives this kid the feeling that, oh my gosh, yeah, it must be because I'm blind, I can't do that. And we don't want to teach our kids that because they can do everything if they have the right instruction and tools.
And some of this, sorry, this is Garrett again. Some of this may require for you to call an IEP meeting again. And as the parent, you can call a meeting anytime you want. And the Maryland Parents Division sent out letters to every single school district, superintendent, and special ed director and said, how are you guys fulfilling your obligation? Not everyone responded. About 7 or 8 of them did respond. And all of them said that we will be holding IEPs in accordance with law, with federal law, and over Zoom or video conference or however they need to. So if you need to call an IEP meeting and say, hey, I need this for my kid, let's figure this out. We as the Maryland Parents Division, we can be in that meeting with you and advocate with you on your behalf. Sometimes it does help to have, you know, let us be the bad guy. Don't make, you know, let us be that person in there pounding the table. Because at the end of the day, we don't communicate with your teachers on a daily basis. We're in there to be the bulldog in the room to say, hey, don't do this to this kid. They're entitled to it. Don't push them off to the side and don't blame COVID, you know, for this. They need this.
And that's well said.
I feel like our district would be well behind us. I think having the correctness of appropriate things. And actually, I think it was because of Maryland Parents discussion or another one of the blind parents boards where I went to the school district already. Like, no, Chromebook's not going to work. We need a laptop and we need kind of X, Y, and Z based on that. And they have definitely started providing it. They're just having technical difficulties dealing with that kind of bureaucracy of email accounts, I guess. But if and I think getting the next step due to JAWS would be good. But that's just so impressive. I mean, seeing you navigate that way, and I'm like, yay!
Yeah, and Emery, I mean, she's doing,
Sorry, but thank you.
yes.
Sarah.
And Emery she's doing, she's doing Excel. She's doing her math. She's taking a Spanish class. So it's possible. We just got to keep pushing forward, and we put a lot of skin in the game, a lot of tears, a lot of prayers, but it's doable. And I do want to say that the document that I sent out earlier, hopefully people were able to access the second link I sent out. At the very bottom of it, there's a link to our YouTube page that has hundreds of videos of doing things with screen readers, whether it's Google Apps, whether it's a suite of Office apps, whether it's all kinds of other things, accessible games. We're doing stuff with students in the videos. So just know that that's a resource out there, kind of just to keep you motivated and encouraged. And you may find the exact problem that you and your child are dealing with and say, well, how do we create a Zoom meeting? How do we put a shortcut on the desktop? How do we create a digital signature for PDFs? We walk through those things. So I encourage you to take advantage of that.
Nate, how much time do we have left?
We have enough time for you to show us some more tricks. What do you have in mind?
I was thinking I've got a couple things. One of the hardest things it took for me to learn was how to actually add something to an assignment, like stick like a file onto an assignment, or OCRing a PDF, or going into Google Drive and just opening up one of my files.
You know what?
Both for OCRing a PDF. People need to know how to OCR a PDF.
We get that all the time. The screen reader you open up a PDF and it says, document can't be read, or image only, or something. So we want people to see this for sure.
I guess it's off to English class, I guess. I mean,
Hang on one second.
with most PDFs there.
Hang on one second before you start keystroking. This is Emmy's mom. I just wanted to let you guys know that last year, this time, Emmy could not open her computer and do a web search for chickens independently. So, what she's doing is what she has been able to learn through hands-on training with experts that use JAWS on a regular basis. But I do want to say to the parents, because I'm one and I've been where you are, all of those lower years in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, even though she wasn't using JAWS proficiently, and again, we weren't in the situation that we're in with distance learning right now, but she was learning touch typing, I think I heard somebody say. She was learning her way around the computer. She was learning her way around the different tools that she uses with her computer. And so all of it comes together, and your time isn't being wasted. It's just a step-by-step process. It all builds.
It definitely does. Thanks for that, Tabby. Really quick, if you guys see something pop up inside of the chat box, I'm going to share a document that you could share with teachers on how to make sure they're creating accessible Google Docs for your student.
Yeah, really two things came out of me learning touch typing. One of them was making my life easier when I started learning JAWS, like, seriously, and the next one was making me really hate the talking typer. So, yeah. So when we go to English class, we're already in, like, deep into the bio class. So I guess we're just gonna, I'm sure there's a quicker way to get there, but I kind of like to backtrack. So we're just gonna alt left arrow until we get back out to that main page. So off we go.
Back main region. Honors biology period 3. Back the new calendar and classes.
And we're back. That didn't take much. So I'm going to heading until I get to English.
Google Classroom heading link MS. Gardner PE lifetime fitness link honors biology period 2 tomorrow heading level link T US history 2 link to honors link TD1 Spanish 1 L US history 2 link to honors 2 tomorrow heading level 2 do Friday heading level link student activity period SAT 8:15 9 cut of deep geometry honors LZ link 5 English 9 honors LZ link.
Finally, we made it. So technically I could have gone to the bottom and shift H. It would have been faster, but who knows?
Enter open feedback button menu collect menu course 3 English 9.
So we have made it to English class, and I'm sure we can find a PDF somewhere. because
English.
I don't know. There's a lot of them here. So
English 9 honors LZ. English 9 honor upcoming heading level 2. Do Tuesday heading level 2.
hold on a second.
Do Thursday head assignment. Baseline annotation heading level 2. Question 3 went to assignment. SB 1.8 always running for questions.
Hold on a
Material.
second.
Marigolds exemplar heading level assignment. Marigolds annotations heading level 2. Assignment. Synthesis announcement. Good morning some material. Baseline scores assignment. Marigolds questions heading level 2.
Okay, here's Marigold's. So sorry it took me a while to get there, but
Link assignment. Marigolds questions.
so I had headings down to Marigold's and I just up arrowed and there's an assignment link. And keep in mind it's a little different when you're on the classwork page, but I'm on the course stream page because my English teacher kind of just leaves everything on course stream. Fine with me. So works a little differently. So I'm gonna click on this link.
Enter assignment. Marigolds questions link. Open feedback button. Menu collect.
And we've got lots of fun stuff in here, so I'm gonna go to the top.
Marigolds questions.
And all these things are attachment links. So I'm going to open my links list
Links list dialog. Links list view. English 9 honors LZ.
and A.
A attachment. Link to HTTPS content. Ebooks. Recorded.
And I'm actually, you know what, I'll just keep Aing.
A attachment. Link to HTTPS CDN. EMOS. Com www. Orange. Com resource rescue.
So I'm pretty sure this is going to open the PDF to Marigolds. I honestly have no idea because I'm pretty sure this is the one I clicked. So I'm just going to press enter on it.
Enter.
And you're doing great, Emery.
PDF 100.
Hey, I was right. So it opened up the nice thing. And this is a really fun PDF. Not really, because there's 2 text columns. So
Edit 1. 5. Rotate clockwise. Download button. Print button. 100. Window page. Zoom. Zoom. -1. Heading level 2. Marigold. Heading level 2. IEGDA W. Closure.
So technically it kind of like OCR'd itself where it was pre-made accessibly. So we're going to pretend it didn't do that and go down to the toolbar, which at this point, actually no, we're not going to do that because it's not the same view. We're going to download it and open it in Word. So download button was up here.
Heading -1. Zoom.
Okay, hold on a second, Emery. So, because people in the first handout that I sent out, it talks about the forms list by. She knows that there's a download button. In this case, there's not a lot of buttons, but if there were say 20 different types of buttons on here, instead of like we had the links list, but this is called a forms list. You can press Insert F5. And she only has the buttons in view, and since the button is called download, she can hit the letter D and it will jump right to that download button. So go ahead and do your insert F5, Emmy.
So it'll actually have more than buttons in there, but I'm pretty sure there's not actually anything that's not a button on here. That's a form field. There's different form fields. So I just went to the top, and now I'm going to, what is that? F6. Insert F6.
Heading list dialog.
Just kidding. Haha. Okay.
The other F6, the F5 version.
It's F5, yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of different things.
Select a form field dialog.
There we go. Form fields. I got it right this time. So, woohoo. Make sure we're at the top. And I bet it starts with a D.
Maybe.
How right I was. And
Enter. Download button.
so on the form fields, when you kind of press enter on it, just brings you there. I don't know. Does that. So now we're just going to enter again.
Enter. Save as dialog. File name. Edit combo. SRH10 Marigolds.
And it's actually going to give me a choice to save it somewhere. So let's just see where it is with Alt D.
Alt D. Progress bar. Address edit combo. Download.
That's pretty fine with me because I'm going to delete it right afterwards. I already have this downloaded. So I could change it by going to Alt N and Shift tabbing 3 times. 3 times for tree view, so I'm just going to Alt S.
Download complete.
And that was fast. It's downloaded, so time to go to File Explorer with Windows E.
Windows E. File Explorer.
And
Unselected.
B for downloads.
D. Downloads. 2 of 9.
Cool.
Enter. Shell folder view.
You act like you know what you're doing. I'm so impressed.
Okay, so now we're in my lovely little list of downloads things. Depending on how you've done this, it might be in a different view, but I don't really know how to explain how to change that. So I'm just gonna.
Last week, today expanded. SRH10 Marigolds. PDF 9.
So awesome. It is there, and I down arrowed and up arrowed again to make sure it was selected, so I could open it. When I press enter on it, it's gonna open in.
I'm gonna pause you. Don't open it, because you're gonna pretend that it's not accessible.
Yeah, because I could open it in Adobe, but I have to annotate this. So I don't want to open it in Adobe because I wouldn't be able to edit it. So we're going to open it in Word. Now, I have to applications. It's kind of like right-clicking, but whatever, same thing, different flavor.
Applications, context menu. To navigate, press up or down arrow.
And open with is T, I'm pretty sure.
Or H.
Oh, wait, yeah. T is
I got your back.
I'm getting messed up. T is extracting zip files.
You're
Oops.
right.
Yeah, okay, it's H.
H. Open with submenu. H. Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. A.
I'll with some, so that's not what we want, but hey, it's there, so that's awesome.
Firefox. F. Google Chrome. Microsoft Edge. F. Word 2016. W.
And that is what we are looking for. Honestly, it doesn't have to be Word 2016 is what I have, but it can just be Word.
Enter. Leaving menus. Download. Item. Select.
So I want to pause right there, and I want to say one of the reasons that this is so helpful is because sometimes your student will get an assignment that's supposed to be fillable. It's a PDF document that some students are clicking in fields and they're typing, and then JAWS may not be able to access those fields. So your student can download that PDF worksheet and open it in Word, and then type in their answers, and then save it as a PDF, and then turn it back in.
So, whatchamacallit, that just finished OCR, and it takes a bit, so if it's a really long file, I don't know, go get a glass of water or something while you're waiting, but this one's done pretty fast. So I'm
Do you mind if I ask, this is Garrett, do you mind if I ask a quick technology question from your student?
Go for it. Put her on the spot. That's why we're here.
So with that is it using the OCR function from JAWS and automatically puts it into a Word document for you?
I could not tell you. I know there's what is that? It's something OCR with JAWS.
What she just did is actually a native native operation between Word and Acrobat. So you can do those you can do that. What she just did with just Office.
Yeah. There's different applications. They do different things. Like, I'm pretty sure Adobe Acrobat automatically OCRs it with its own technology, but you can't really edit it without, like, a crazy subscription or something. And then Word just OCRs it with its Word technology and makes it editable. That's really what Word's focus point is making it editable. Oh, we missed a key point, guys. We have to make this editable. That's a good point. We have to F6 up to the I think it's status bar, and then tell it that we are okay that it came from the internet and that we do want to edit it.
F6.
Yeah, because right now it's protected.
Okay, hold on.
F6. Hey, the terrible files from the internet can't contain viruses unless you need to edit. It's safer to stay in protected view. Link.
So I don't know, it's actually just easier for JAWS to work if it's in edit mode. So
Enable editing button to activate. Press enter.
boom, 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 boom. And hopefully that works.
SRH 10 very.
Boom. Okay, this is awesome. I have my book now. It's just one chapter, but same thing, differently.
Eugenia W. When I think of the hometown of my youth. Oh.
So that is now accessible, and I can read this chapter, and I can annotate it with however you choose to annotate. So awesome. I have my book now.
And we can annotate using comments or suggestions in Google Docs. We can use the track view or comments in Word. You can also use OCR. Google Drive has its own built-in OCR feature where if you put a PDF document in your Google Drive in the cloud, you open it, you can download it as a Word document, and it will OCR the image into its best version of a text document, which it's really good.
Yeah, realistically, I would have done that because I like to, stay in Google as much as I can. That's just me. Doesn't always work out for me, but whatever. But that specific document was actually online and not like preloaded into Google Drive's little viewer. So if it was, I would have done that.
So let me go back because Emery's just hitting us with so much knowledge and she's flying through here. What I want to say is that the benefit of starting your students off younger is that it builds a matrix. It builds a foundation. So everything that she's showing you, we didn't have to teach her every single keystroke. she's able to start making inferences. Well, if this worked here, then that might work there. And so she starts to build on that, and this is what you get. These are the results. And she's doing this all the time, where she's pulling things out and says, well, I'm going to try it this way. And there's actually been some very technical things that she showed me. I'm saying, wow, the problem-solving skills are way off of the charts. And what does this equal? This equals something that our kids need, and that's confidence. It's having control over their education. It's having the ability to know that if they make it or don't make it, it's not someone else's fault. It's in their hands, and that's what we need. And so again, this type of training, it's not optional. It's not like piano lessons. It's not like a second language. If you want your child to be independent, I encourage you to put this as a priority. Don't say, well, one day when they're 12, when they're 15, when they're 18, the sooner you can start getting this moving forward, please do everything you can.
I feel like this is a little bit cliche, what I'm about to say, but before I knew how to use computers, I was just doing everything on my Braille note and on my phone. Life was fine, except it really wasn't, because I would get assignments and they'd just not work on the Braille note for whatever reason and be really messed up on my phone for whatever reason. I was stuck what to do. Basically everything I turned in last year was late, or I had to have assistance, and it was just really a mess, and I really don't want a repeat of last year. So now that I have this amazing computer skills, again, really cliche, I am independent.
Hey, truth can be cliche. Sometimes they're synonymous because everything you're saying is true, and it's obvious. I think it's obvious to everyone how powerful it is to have these skills.
Nate, this is Garrett.
Yes.
Quick question for parents out there with younger kids. Let's say entering first, second, third grade. It is possible, would you say, for them to develop, some very good skills, just like Emery has, and be, pretty fluent, like he is right now in the 9th grade.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. We've had kids that are second, third grade, maybe doing their little PowerPoint slides. It's doable. Don't be over. It seems overwhelming, but it's like anything. It's one bite at a time.
And what are the drawbacks? Let's say you have a child who's entering, their senior year of high school, and they're getting ready to go into college, and maybe they're still using Braille, or maybe they're still using large print and they don't know how to use the computer. What are the drawbacks for them entering into college or even the working environment if they don't have these computer skills?
How much time do we have? Okay, I'm not only a technology instructor, but I'm also a youth transition coordinator and an employment specialist. So I'm not just speaking from the area of pressing Alt-Tab. I'll give you an example. 3 days ago, a young lady picked up her computer, low vision. She just finished her first 2 weeks of college, and she came in here and she said, it's harder than I thought it would be. There's more reading than I thought there would be, and I don't have a teacher to help me with any of it. That's something I hear all the time. This time last year, a young lady who was on a roll at her at her high school, went to college in Albany. She had even gone to the DSS. They had an embosser. They said, we have a computer with Fusion. And then she goes and she finds out they don't know how to use any of it. They were saying, this is here for you to use. And she's calling with tears running down her face because she has to learn tech in real time with these 5 classes. Most kids don't make it. This young lady is exceptional. And we don't want to make the mistake to think we're all exceptional, because then people aren't exceptional. That's just the norm. But kids will fall on their face majority of the time if they don't have good tech skills and they try to go to college. We always advise, take a leap year. We just had a young man who, no tech skills. He lost his vision over this last year, had a bachelor's in biology, completed that successfully, had some assistance from parents the last 2 months of the year, and he tried to go for it. He made a good run, very intelligent kid, but after in this first 2 weeks, he had to withdraw. And that's even with us there to support him, because again, you have to be very exceptional.
I'd like to add to this also. You know, when we and I always prefer, let's start these kids at 3 years old, just like all the sighted kids are getting. But truly, when you work in the accommodations in elementary, you need to get rid of those accommodations as soon as you can. These kids by middle school, absolutely by high school, need to be ordering their own books. They need to know how to OCR their own work. They need to know how to emboss their own work. They need to know how to get done what they need to get done. So by the time they graduate, they are independent. They have done it all. The kids that we've started early enough, by the time they've reached high school, their sighted peers are asking them for help on the computer because they have more skills, because they are far more independent. And it's great as a social tool also. But truly, those accommodations need to be absolutely gone if you want your child to be ready for life, absolutely college.
And just to add to that, just so parents know, I mean, think about this. One day when your child does leave college, there will be no disability office. There will be no one to OCR. I'm currently a law student right now. And I've worked in law firms and public defender's office, private firms, and I've dealt with medical records, and I've had to scan them myself and read them myself. And yes, it's a lot more work because you are blind. And let's be honest, the world is not built for blind people. We just need the tools to allow us to navigate it, and we have that with JAWS. So one day your child won't have those resources, and they need to know how to do it themselves.
Yeah, and I want to add too, for parents listening, it's not to feel bad that you have accommodation. This is just that call to action. It's just so everybody has a realistic lay of the land, a real world view of what needs to happen. And it doesn't happen overnight, but the more you know, the next step you can take, and you get a little more light, you get a little more guidance, and you take another step forward. Because anybody who's using technology, any of our students, any of their parents, they have been on a journey. Their journey of tears, their trail of tears.
And this is Emmy's mom, Tabby, again. As I listened to everybody talk and all the stuff that we're hitting on, I wanted to let you guys know from an advocacy perspective, Emmy's been training and we've been adding more to her, year after year after year. And we just transitioned to Hawaii last year when she was in 8th grade, and she 100% managed her caseload and her TBI. Whatever she needed, she communicated that with her teachers, she communicated that with her TBI, and I was not even involved for the first semester of the class, of the year. And so that's a goal, right? I mean, and yeah, it's a school of hard knocks, but that's how you learn what you need to do as a student. And so, we're always here. We're back here, in the wings, and we're going to help make things happen if they're not happening fast enough. But she got a really good feel for what that means and what that means for her as a student.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing that all parents, I would imagine any parent who's walked this path has had to learn. You can't take no for the answer, and you can't take, well, they can't do that, we can't do that. Now what you can say is, I understand that that's hard. I understand that this may take money, that this may take extra training, but just simply saying, no, we can't do it, or we can't work that out. This is where it's like you said, Garrett, organizations, NFB, Parents of Blind Children, you call on the advocates to be the bulldogs and come alongside you, because no is not an answer, because our kids' future, their lives, their mental health is on the line.
It's not just that. I want them to be taxpayers.
Amen.
Taxpayers. I tell them all that.
And just so parents know, I'm the president of the Maryland Parents Organization of Blind Children. I have had an IEP advocate from the NFB in my IEP meetings. Because sometimes, even when you do have the knowledge, it helps to have somebody else in the room that says, no, the parent is not wrong. The parent's right, and you're wrong. So quit saying no to this parent and their child. And it works, because when I walked in the room with my NFB advocate, it's funny that my TVI for my child and the TVI, me and the NFB advocate, our child share the same TVI. So when we walked into the room, we had the TVI, I had the school principal, I had 3 people from the district, because they knew it was going to be a very intense meeting because services weren't being provided. And by the end of the meeting, they didn't win. They said yes. They never said the word no. So it does help to have someone in there with you. And it's not wrong. And we don't charge for those services, those advocacy services, to have people go into those meetings. We willingly go in there and say, we're here to help.
And I was just going to add something. Up until 8th grade, I'd never really attended an IEP meeting. I had no idea what was going on. Like, it'd be like, oh, hey, I'd go out, say I'm in 6th grade. All the teachers are like, okay, we have a substitute today. And I was like, why? And it was because I had an emergency IEP meeting. But I had never really attended an IEP meeting, and it was a mystery to me. Everything was behind closed doors. It was magical. I don't even know what was going on. And so I attended my first IEP meeting when I was 8th grade, and I thought that was a really great experience for me because I actually got to know just how stubborn the district is and just how much, my parents were doing for me. And I think that the first step to independence is actually like being there yourself and actually know what's going on.
It's so true, Emery.
I think we had a hand raised earlier, a question from Sarah. Sarah, I don't know if you can unmute yourself and maybe ask your question. I told you, I sent you a chat and told you that I'd find a way to get your question. Do you think you could unmute yourself and ask that question?
Sure. So my question was, for those of us who are just maybe starting on this path with assistive tech service time for our kids, what's the recommendation from Tech Vision on frequency and how much time for each session when we're looking at plugging that into the IEP?
What are your thoughts, Denise, on this? I'm going to defer to you.
So it depends on the child. If this is a cognitively impaired, absolutely needs to be every day. And we always want the TVI there because we want the TVI to be following through when they're working independently with the child also. Most often, and this is just a regular kid, we're probably talking 3 or 4 times a week, hour a day. It's consistency and the follow through. That's how brain cells grow. You can teach keyboarding in 5 hours, but that's over 5 days, an hour a day. And that's just, we're talking a regular kid. Emmy is not a regular kid, by the way. She is like,
my mom somehow weaseled me into getting 16 hours a week.
16 hours.
Yeah, well, if you're in high academic classes, and you need a lot of hours too. But, if we're talking kindergartner, first grader, but it's also, we don't just teach the keyboarding, we teach real time. So whatever the child needs to do for work, and that's how you really increase the learning exponentially. That's how the kids are involved. They want to learn it. They want to get it done. They don't want to have the homework. So everyone's really vested in it. So it's not just teaching the keyboarding. We don't teach keyboarding. We teach them how to do the fingering, and then they're doing the work while they're doing their fingering, and they increase the speed just naturally. So, yeah.
You know what I'll do, Sarah, is we have a student she has multiple impairments, and she may be working at a third or fourth grade level, but I will remove her name from kind of the IEP, where you can still see all the goals and the progress, and I'm talking about TS. And then you can get an idea of what's in this this child has multiple impairments like you would not believe, and she cannot even use her hands fluently, so she's using the computer, controlling it with a braille display, and you can still see everything that's on her goals and objectives for technology.
Yeah. And dictation too. She was using dictation, but her school had no idea how to teach her. And so she literally was just being moved along year by year, and until they were able to locate us to say, hey, what can you do for this child? It's like, well, she needs to learn dictation. She can totally control her computer with a braille display, and she has just taken off.
So Nate and Denise, what do you guys, because we talked about how switching to virtual just happened overnight. You know.
Yeah.
Blind kids especially were very unprepared for this. What do you advise for parents to say to teachers of TVIs and school districts now in IEP meetings? How can I get my kid these services now? And how are we going to work with you to make sure my kid can do my assignments right now?
First, I've got to say our kids did not miss a beat. When COVID occurred and all the schools went virtual, it was nothing. It was nothing. Our kids had already been doing this for years. Now Emmy was fairly new, but once again, she's the Einstein kid, so she picked it all up very, very quickly. But we're talking regular kids have been doing this for years. It was nothing, so they didn't miss a beat. But I'll let Nate fill you in on the rest.
So. We know that TVIs and school district, there's a culture there, and it's kind of a brotherhood, and there's unions, and the first place of resistance is that usually they don't want to acknowledge that they cannot provide something, and so it's starting the initial conversation maybe with a person who you have a connection with, because sometimes parents are good friends with the TVI. Sometimes there's an opening to have that discussion to say, Johnny, I really see him struggling with his technology at home. I'm around blind adults, or we know blind adults who are using screen readers, who are using JAWS, and they're using it for everyday things. And I want Johnny to be able to work alongside his peers to access the same things that they're doing, because what I've learned is that technology is out there, and other kids, my daughter or my son's age, they're accessing it also. So what is it going to take for our school district, or for you, or for our IEP to get this put into their plan? And so from that point, you kind of gauge the response. Are they going to say, it's you guys aren't ready? Or are they going to say, well, they need to learn typing more? Are they going to say we're a Mac school district, we're a Chromebook school district only? You have to gauge what the next step is based on the pushback you get. And then from that point, I would say parents having that person, having an advocate to start that process with them. Whether it's a mentor, whether it's another parent who's already gone through it, because the variables start to change so much from that initial conversation. But I think the first step is bringing it up. I'm seeing my son, I'm seeing my daughter struggle. I'm having to sit there, I'm having to press the tab key, I'm having to press mouse. But at the same time, I just met another child, my daughter, my son's age, who's doing all of this independently, and it's in their IEP. So sometimes we have to say, I know, I can compare now. I've seen that this is possible. What can we do? What can you guys do for my student so we can start moving in that direction? And so it's being firm and respectful and laying out the facts as best as you can, not perfectly. There's not a perfect methodology, but just coming sincerely, saying, I know that this is doable. My child is struggling. What is it going to take to get this in their IEP? And their response is going to determine the next steps.
And
And,
I'll
you know-
add to that. Oh, sorry, I was just going to add to that what we used was the high school, all the kids have Chromebooks, and I know in some schools, the middle schools, all the kids have Chromebooks. So the minute they start issuing those computers to kids, that gives us as parents of blind kids some power, because we're able to stand up and say, hey, my kid can't use a computer, so therefore we need some more training.
Yeah, as soon as they issue the computer, because what we're seeing is parents just didn't know how little training their kids were getting. They sent the computers home with their kids, and parents said, "Okay, Johnny, it's time to do your assignment." And the kid opens the computer and says, "Well, I don't know how to do it, Mom. I don't know how to use this thing." And the parents saying, "Wait, what? They said it was all ready for you to go. It has its jaws on it." And that's when you say, "Okay, Johnny doesn't know how to do it. Emergency IEP meeting. Take advantage of COVID to have those meetings and to let them know, I'm not my child's secretary. I'm not my child's TVI. It is your responsibility to provide this training so he or she can access their education."
And it's about total independence. Our kids can be just as independent as the sighted kids if they have the technology and instruction. And technology is nothing without the instruction. And it's not just instruction, but it's instruction from people who are using this technology every single day, every single minute of the day, and live and breathe it. And the TVIs do the best they can, but they're not using it. They are mouse users. The majority of them are sighted. They are overwhelmed. They're trying to get the braille and everything else for the kid. And once, Nate had brought this up, it is a brotherhood. And man, they do not want to admit they don't have the skills. Some do. And those are the ones where we are immediately put in. As soon as they find us, oh my gosh, and 2 months is a very short period of time. Paperwork, it's paperwork. But the TVIs who are the ones that actually find us say, hey, can you join us? Can you start teaching with our kid? And can I learn from you? And I always say, absolutely. And that's the best relationships. It's just a dynamic team when you have the TVI. And we're TVIs also, but there's already TVIs out there doing TVI stuff. So it's the technology that really lacks in the schools. And we team off of them. And oh my gosh, the TVIs, they're like, this kid needs to do dut, dut, dut. Can you guys do that this week? And we just say, yep, we sure can. And the kid just really blossoms from that. But it's independence. And the thing is, you can also you can get rid of the para-educators. You can get rid of all these sighted people who have been helping this child because this child's going to learn how to be independent.
And let me add a couple things. Where do we go from here? If your student is from the age 14 to 22, they're eligible for what they call pre-ETS funding. I wish I had the documents to load. I'm going to email you some stuff, Garrett. And this is through, it's a federal program, and it's distributed through Department of Labor or Department of Education, whatever your VR, your voc rehab vocational training is tied to. And so example, if our school district gives pushback, I go to VR counselor, and I say, hey, the school district, not only are they not training them, but in this email they said we can't provide this service. And I make sure that the kid and their family, the student and their family, go and sign up with DVR here, and DVR can say, okay, we will pay for the training, we'll pay for the laptop, we'll pay for the JAWS. So there are other ways to have training funded. And another thing is, a parent may also pay for an independent assessment, in a technology assessment. And so here at my center, I would say, okay, we're going to do a technology assessment, probably anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. And I'm going to find out everything that student knows about technology, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's an Amazon Echo, laptop, iPad, and I'm going to do this assessment, and it's going to say, these are the things that this student knows, and these are the things that it's going to take for the student to be able to work alongside their peers independently. And so I'll write the things that they need to learn. It'll have bullet points, Google Docs, Google Slides, Office, ... And then I'll say, these are the amount of hours that I recommend for this student to have. Sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 150 hours. And so that can be taken to the school also as leverage, as a document, as an independent tool to say, they've seen what my child can do, and they're capable, and they're saying that this is what it's going to take for them to be able to work independently alongside their peers. And that's the goal of the IEP, is to have those supports and those type of goals and objectives.
Does anybody have any more questions for Nate or Denise or Emery? Sarah, I think I heard.
Yep, go
Sure.
for it,
So I
sir.
had one other question about so how you were explaining and how you left a document in. For me as a sighted parent is really helpful. And is it okay for me as a sighted parent to ask our assistive tech person to say, okay, I need you to send me a list of the things we talked about so we can practice them, and I can help support my child while we're practicing them on our off time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here's the other big thing. When our students start tech training, we don't want to just teach them press Alt Tab, press insert this or that. We want to have students' assignments being sent to them, because then we teach them how to check their email, how to download an attachment. It's the practical real-time experience that really strengthens their muscles and gets everything going. So they may drop off a big Braille packet to your student. Say, can you also send those to us in Word or PDF accessible format, so my son or daughter can get them from the internet, download them, and then work on reading them with JAWS.
Yeah, the other thing to add to that, I mean, you could do a combination of both. You know, if your child, math tends to be a lot easier in Braille, all the math stuff needs to be in Braille. All of the English stuff can also be in, PDFs and Words. Technology is important, and in my opinion, is the great equalizer between blind people and sighted people. Puts us on a very level playing fields. Technology is good, but if you incorporate Braille with that at the same time, it's even better. So just because your child lacks in technology, don't let the district fool you and say, well, then if they need technology, they don't need Braille, because Braille is just as important. There's been numerous studies that, both of them combined are beneficial and help. A student who knows Braille, they can see sentence structure, commas. They know the difference between there, and there instead of hearing it. But me saying it, there's 3 different versions. So you need both. And districts often forget that students need both. It's one or the other. There's no in between.
Yeah, 80% of the 30-ish% of blind people in the workforce know Braille. So
and I need to add to that, Nate and I are not mentioning, we have Braille displays. We want Braille displays on all the computers. We have neglected to mention that. We've been talking a lot about computers, but the kids must have a Braille display connected to their computer, because when you're not hearing or you are hearing a word, you need to check the spelling of it. You need to check where the punctuation is. The Braille display is really a must. So it's teaching the Braille display along with the computer. So thank you, Garrett, for bringing that up.
Absolutely, yeah. Emory has 4 Braille devices, I think. So we definitely want to implement those in there. And yeah, we want real-time work for the kids. It's
always. Yeah. And that is what's so different about instruction that the kids will get really quickly, is if you're teaching real time, they will get it because they're applying it, versus if someone comes in, because there's a lot of tech instructors out there. Oh my gosh. And schools will most likely say, well, we have an assistive tech, and they'll come in with a PowerPoint lesson. Well, if that kid's not learning PowerPoint for 6 more months, they are not going to remember it. If the assistive tech person comes in with a manual and starts reading from a manual and saying, okay, let's start at number 1. It says, number 1, put your left pinky down on shift key while you do. Yeah, things like that. It needs to be real-time instruction.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be acceptable in any other subject. You couldn't have someone teaching math, your student math, if they're just learning it. You know, that they have to be skilled in that area of instruction to teach it effectively.
And Emmy is a perfect example of that because all the way up through 7th grade, she's had JAWS instruction. She's had a computer with JAWS. She's had a Braille note. She's had all of these different devices and different levels of training and know-how. Honestly, she taught herself most everything that she knew on a Braille note, and didn't really get to that point with JAWS because it was just very frustrating and boring, because when she was being taught JAWS, it was just that. It was from a program and a manual, and her TBI would walk through steps of how to do things. And it was horribly boring. And so when COVID happened and we knew that we were going to be stuck on a computer, those were the words that I said to Denise. If I need someone that can teach her real time with what she needs to be doing, if you guys aren't those people, just let me know. Because that's where the real learning happens, and that's where the real learning has happened with Emmy. So when COVID struck, she learned the basics, the things that she needed to learn, how to do. At that time, all of her teachers were using different platforms. It was like the Wild Wild West down here in Hawaii. So she learned all of those different platforms. She's been doing it on her phone to try to stay afloat. But once we got her in with some tech training skills, she started learning faster because she was doing that on her computer. And then as the teachers started having classes, or here they called it enrichment because they ended up not giving them credit for the whole last part of the year. But as they went through that process, she was able to participate with her class, simultaneously learning the different tech skills that she needed in order to continue to participate with her class and whatever the teacher was posting or however the teacher was doing this.
I know we need to wind down. I do want to answer or make a statement about IEPs. Don't just put tech training. You know, try to get specific with the goals and objectives. So if your student's school is using Canvas, even in 3rd grade, if the little 3rd graders are using Chromebooks, they're getting into Canvas or Google Class, put that in that technology IEP goal. Sign in to Google Classroom. Navigate Google Drive. And it's a tall order, but we have to put those things in there. We need them baked into that legal mechanism so you can fall back on that. When people want to argue and say, well, I don't think and I don't feel, you can go back to the IEP and say, well, we did put that in there. So, Thank you all for inviting us and hosting this. This is our passion, what we love to do. I appreciate all of the questions, and I hope I hope we helped you guys also.
And you can send us emails also. And Garrett, you probably have that. And yeah, so anybody has questions or anything? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I was just quickly typing in my phone number and my email into the chat box. If it didn't come in, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can find my information on the NFB of Maryland website, the parents page if you need IEP help here in the state of Maryland. And thank you, Nate. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Emery. And thank you, Emery's mom, for loaning us your daughter for the night. And Emery, good luck with your biology homework you need to get done. You know, you guys have been such a valuable resource, and thank you so much. And we can't thank you guys enough for doing this for our parents tonight. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. And, we did record this in tonight's meeting, so if you missed something, and Nate and Denise and Emery, and I think Emery's mom, if it's okay with you guys, we'd like to distribute this recording to the parents tonight and the other parents who couldn't attend tonight's meeting, if that's okay with all of you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I'd love to have a link to the recording also, so we can. And if it's okay with you, if we want to use this for our Tech Vision page, do we have
Ab-
permission?
Absolutely. I don't.
Yeah,
think
I'll
I-
get it uploaded. So please send it to me and I'll get it uploaded to our Tech Vision channel. That'd be great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, parents. Like I said, if you need help, please don't hesitate to contact me. And thank you, and enjoy your evening tonight.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Aloha.
Mahalo.
I said mahalo.
Full speed. SRH meeting controls. Alt F4. End meeting news. Current audio settings. Stop video. Alt F4. Leave meeting button. Cancel button. Stop security button. Video settings. Button drop down.
Gosh, why is this working?
Q. End meeting or leave meeting. Leave cancel button.